We're going to do our top interview 150 questions with Java code here. We're going to remove an element. So given an integer array nums and an integer value inside of the parameters of our method here, we want to remove all occurrences of the value in our nums, and the order of the elements may be changed. That's not too important for us, but we should return the number of elements in nums which are not equal to the value. So we're going to have a counter that keeps track of that. Let's do int counter, and we'll initially set it to 0. We're eventually going to want to then return our counter. We're going to want to go through our entire array and check this, so we're going to do so in a for loop. Typically when you have a beginning and then an end value, you use a for loop. So we're going to do int a is equal to 0, and we want to run a as long as it is less than our nums dot length. We don't need parentheses here because it's a property of nums, so we don't need parentheses like this. We just need nums.length, and then we have a plus plus. Now, inside of here is where we're going to want to have our code. We're going to have a check. We're going to run this as long as if our current element, so the value at the index that we are going through for the for loop, if this num right here, and it should be nums, if nums at this index, the element at this index, if it does not equal to the value that's passed in, we're going to be inside of here, and first off we're going to want to increase our counter. So we're going to have counter plus plus. Well, now what are we going to do? Let's look at case 2 to find this out. So when we run this initially, our counter is 0, and we can see that we want to remove any value of 2. When we go through this first time, our counter is going to be updated to 1, and then our a is going to also be at 1. We run this again. This is 1, it's not equal to our value, so we go in here, we increment our counter, and obviously our a is going to increment, so we have this. We go through this again. Now 2 is equal to our value, so we're not going to be in this if statement. We're not going to update our counter, but we are going to go through our for loop again and update our a. A is now 3, so 0, 1, 2, 3, we are at here. We go through our for loop again, not updating our counter because we're still at this 2. This is now going to be 4. So we've gone through all of this so far. We are now here. We're going to go into this if statement because, well, our value right here, it does not equal to the current element that we're looking at. So we're okay to be inside this if statement. What I'm going to do is move this value, and I'm going to do the same thing for all these others, down and replace this. We're essentially replacing any value that we don't want. And so good thing we have this counter up here, because it's kind of saved in place the last time that this happened. It has 2 here, and this 2 is at the second index. So what we can do is say that we want our nums at the counter index to be equal to the nums, and then we're going to be at the current index we're looking at, which is going to be this a. We can run this, and it should pass both our tests. Oh, we have a compile error, because of course I always forget my semicolons. Don't forget your semicolons. It's going to judge it. It's going to accept both tests. Let's submit it as well, and we can see our runtime, and it should be 0 milliseconds. So that's good. And that's how we would solve this in Java for remove element. For more Java problems, check out the playlist link below the like button.